The data made no sense. Rilla checked her instruments 3 times. Then 4. Her delicate moth-like wings trembled as she stared at the screen. Something was falling through the atmosphere of the garden world below. Something alive. Not a ship. Not an escape pod. Not any kind of vehicle at all. That a single biological life form. Dropping from the upper atmosphere at increasing speed. She pressed the communication panel with a shaking hand. "Commander Drell, please come to the sensor station." Immediately, the Morasti commander arrived within minutes. His amphibian skin was still damp from his rest cycle, and his wide eyes blinked with confusion. "What is it, Rilla?" Your message sounded urgent. "Look," she pointed at the screen. Drell leaned forward. His throat sac inflated with shock. "That cannot be correct. Run the sensors again." "I have run them 7 times. The reading is accurate. There's a living being falling through the atmosphere without any protection or vehicle." "At what speed?" Rilla's wings folded tight against her back. "Approaching terminal velocity. 53 meters per second." The words hung in the air like a death sentence. Every species in the galaxy knew what terminal velocity meant. It meant death. No biological creature could survive impact at such speeds. The math was simple and cruel. "Can we lock transport systems?" Drell asked. "The target is moving too fast. Our systems cannot achieve stable lock." They watched the screen together. The life sign fell through clouds, through the thin upper air into the thick lower atmosphere. It was a small dot on their sensors, but it represented something alive, something that would soon be dead. "For 1,000 meters from surface," Rilla announced, her voice barely a whisper. 3,000, 2,500. Then something impossible happened. The life sign slowed. Not gradually like something hitting denser air. It slowed dramatically as if by choice. The falling speed dropped from 53 meters per second to 6 meters per second in just moments. "What?" Drell's voice trailed off on the sensor screen. Something had deployed from the falling creature. A large fabric structure that caught the air and turned a deadly fall into a gentle float. "It is landing," Rilla said. "Alive." The life sign touched down on the surface with the softness of a leaf settling on water. The biological readings showed elevated heart rate, elevated breathing, but no damage. No injury. Nothing that suggested the being had just survived what should have been certain death. Drell straightened his spine. "Prepare a first contact team. I want to know what that creature is and how it just broke the laws of physics." The shuttle descended through the atmosphere 20 minutes later. Rilla insisted on joining the team, though her wings would not stop trembling. She needed to understand. She needed to see with her own eyes. They found the creature in a clearing, gathering up the large fabric that had saved its life. It was bipedal, with soft skin in a brown shade, dark hair cut short, and eyes that reflected the sunlight. It wore a jumpsuit of some kind, covered in straps and clips that IT looked up at their shuttle and smiled, as if it had not just fallen from the edge of space. The team approached carefully. Rilla activated her translation device. "Greetings. I am Senior Xenobiologist Rilla of Galactic Survey Station Amber 7. We observe your descent. Are you injured?" The creature laughed. Actually laughed. "Injured? No, that was a clean jump. Good conditions today. Visibility was perfect." "A clean jump," Rilla repeated. The words did not make sense. "You fell from the upper atmosphere at terminal velocity." "Yeah, that is kind of the point." The creature finished folding the fabric and tucked it into a pack on its back. "I am Sam Reeves, by the way. Human. From Earth. Is this a first contact situation?" "Cool. I have never done one of those before." "Human." Rilla searched her memory for the species. She found nothing. "You fell on purpose?" Commander Drell asked. His voice was high with disbelief. "Sure. It is called skydiving. Jumping from high places and falling until you deploy your parachute." Sam pointed at the pack. "This is the parachute. Slows you down for landing." "Skydiving," Drell repeated. "Humans do this often?" Rilla asked. "Millions of us. It is a hobby. Some people do it every weekend." Rilla's legs felt weak. Her wings drooped. The galaxy operated on certain rules, certain truths. Terminal velocity killed. This was not opinion. This was physics, but here stood a creature who had just fallen through an entire atmosphere and called it a hobby. I do not understand, she said softly. Terminal velocity is fatal. For all species. The math does not allow survival. Sam tilted its head. Fatal for all species? Really? Huh. I guess human math works different. The creature grinned. So, anyone want to try it? The view from up there was amazing. Rilla's vision went dark. Her wings gave out. The last thing she heard before unconsciousness took her was Commander Drell shouting for medical assistance. When she woke up in the shuttle's medical bay, her first thought was clear and terrible. There was a species that played with death for fun, and they had just made first contact with it. 6 hours after first contact, the conference room of Station Amber 7 felt smaller than usual. Every seat was filled. Scientists, engineers, security personnel, medical staff. They had all come to see the creature that fell from the sky and lived. Sam Reeves sat at one end of the table, eating small pieces of dried food from a bag and looking entirely relaxed. Rilla had recovered from her fainting spell, though her wings still twitched every time she looked at the human. Commander Drell stood at the front of the room, holding a data tablet. His throat sac kept inflating and deflating with stress. I have accessed the Galactic database entry for the human homeworld. I will read the relevant sections aloud. The room fell silent. Planet designation, Earth. Local name varies by region. Classification, Category 12 Deathworld. A murmur ran through the assembled crew. Category 12 was nearly the highest danger rating possible. Most species avoided such worlds entirely. Drell continued reading. Gravity, 1.4 times galactic standard. Atmosphere, dense nitrogen-oxygen mixed with significant pressure at sea level. Native fauna includes apex predators in nearly every environment. Planet experiences regular natural disasters including earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, hurricanes, and floods. Sounds like home, Sam said cheerfully, eating another piece of dried food. Drell stared at the human. Your species evolved on this world, born and raised. Well, I was born in a place called Finland, which is cold most of the year. But yeah, Earth is home. Medical officer, Yin leaned forward. The crystalline Tessari's body caught the light as she moved, creating small rainbows on the walls. I examined the human earlier. May I share my findings? Drell nodded. Human bones are remarkably dense. Their skeletal structure can absorb impacts that would shatter most species. Their muscles contain fibers that act as natural shock absorbers. And their inner ear contains a balance system so precise that they can track their position and rotation even while falling through open air. Is that unusual? Sam asked. No other known species has comparable capabilities, Yin replied. You are built to fall and survive. Sam shrugged. I guess we had to be. Humans have been falling out of trees and off cliffs for a long time. The ones who survived the falls had babies. Evolution is pretty practical. Rilla found her voice. You said earlier that millions of humans practice this skydiving. How high do they typically fall from? Standard jump is around 4,000 meters. Some people go higher. There's a guy back home who jumped from almost 40,000 meters. Edge of space, basically. Took him 4 minutes to fall. The room went completely silent. 40,000 meters, Drell repeated slowly. And he survived, broke a few records doing it. Became famous. Rilla felt dizzy again. She gripped the edge of her seat. Your species jumps from the edge of space for fame. And science. That jump taught us a lot about high-altitude survival. Helped improve our space suits. Sam finished the bag of food and tucked it away. Look, I understand this seems strange to you, but falling is just physics. You calculate your speed, your altitude, your air resistance. You know when to deploy your chute. It is math, not magic. Math that kills everyone except humans, Yin observed. Well, yeah, I guess our math is just more flexible. A communication alert interrupted the discussion. Drell checked his tablet, and his face changed. The casual curiosity disappeared, replaced by something harder. Something worried. We have a distress signal, he announced. Mining colony prospect 6 on a high-gravity world 2 systems away. A transport ship crashed on a cliff ledge 800 meters above the ground. 18 miners are trapped with failing life support. Send rescue shuttles, someone suggested. Wind shear around the cliff face makes approach impossible. The rescue teams have tried 4 times. They cannot get close enough without risking another crash. Drell set down his tablet. The miners have perhaps 6 hours of air remaining. The room filled with grim silence. Everyone understood what failing life support meant. Everyone knew that some rescues were simply impossible. Everyone except Sam. 800 meters, the human said slowly. What is the gravity on that world? 1.6 galactic standard. What? Atmosphere density. Drell checked. Slightly higher than Earth normal. Sam stood up from the table. A strange look had entered those alien eyes. Not fear, not worry. Something that looked almost like hunger. Terminal velocity in that atmosphere, at that gravity. That would be around 55 meters per second with proper body position. Deploy chute at 200 meters, land at walking speed. The human nodded to themselves. Yeah, that works. Rilla stared at the human. What are you suggesting? Sam smiled. It was not a friendly smile. It was the smile of a predator that had spotted prey. I'm suggesting that you have 18 miners who need help, an 800-meter cliff that nobody can reach, and a human who falls from the sky for fun. The human walked toward the door. Get me on a shuttle to Prospect 6. I have a jump to make. This is insane, Drell said. You could die. Sam paused at the door and looked back. Commander, I jumped out of spacecraft this morning because I was bored. This is actually important. Get me on that shuttle. The human left the room. Rilla looked at the other crew members. Nobody spoke. Finally, Yin broke the silence. I believe we should give the human what they want. Nobody disagreed. The emergency shuttle cut through space at maximum speed. Inside, Sam Reeves sat on the floor, carefully checking every strap and buckle on a battered pack. Rilla watched from across the cabin. She had insisted on coming. Someone needed to document this. Someone needed to witness what was about to happen, whether it ended in miracle or tragedy. Commander Drell had stayed on Amber 7 to coordinate communications, but his voice came through the speakers every few minutes, asking for updates, checking if Sam had changed their mind. Sam had not changed their mind. Tell me about the miners, the human said without looking up from the pack. Rilla checked her data tablet. 18 workers from a crystal mining operation. They are Tessari, like medical officer Yen. Crystalline biology. Very fragile compared to most species. How fragile? Impact at 3 meters per second can cause fractures. Impact at 10 meters per second is usually fatal. Sam paused their inspection. 3 meters per second. That is barely faster than walking. Tessari did not evolve on a harsh world like Earth. Their planet has low gravity and gentle weather. They never needed to survive falls. The human resumed, checking the pack. So if the ledge collapses before rescue arrives, they all die. Yes, and nobody else can reach them because of the wind. Correct. The cliff creates severe turbulence. Any craft that approaches too close loses control. 3 rescue shuttles have already been damaged in attempts. Sam nodded slowly. But a single person falling through the air is too small to be affected the same way. The wind pushes me around, sure, but I can adjust. I can steer. You can steer while falling. That is half the skill of skydiving. Body position controls everything. Arms out, you slow down. Arms in, you speed up. Legs shift your direction. A good skydiver can land within a meter of their target from 4,000 meters up. Rilla tried to imagine it. She could not. For a species, falling meant death. The idea of controlling a fall, of treating it like flight, was beyond her understanding. The plan, Sam continued, is simple. Your shuttle takes me to 2,000 meters above the ledge. I jump. I fall. I steer toward the target. At 200 meters, I deploy my parachute. I land on the ledge with the miners. Then I set up anchor points for cable extraction. And if something goes wrong... Sam finally looked up. Those strange human eyes held no fear. Then 18 miners die anyway, and I die with them. At least I will have tried. That is remarkably calm reasoning for someone discussing their own death. The human smiled. Rilla, I have jumped from aircraft over 200 times. I have jumped at night. I have jumped in storms. I have jumped with equipment failures and still landed safe. I know the math. I trust the math. And I trust myself. The shuttle pilot announced their approach to Prospect 6. Through the viewport, Rilla could see the planet growing larger. Brown and gray, a harsh world of stone and thin air. The cliff is coming into visual range, the pilot reported. I can see the ledge. I can see the miners. Rilla moved to the viewport. The cliff was enormous, a wall of dark rock rising from a canyon floor. Near the top, a narrow ledge jutted out, and on that ledge, she could see small shapes huddled together. The crashed transport lay crumpled at one end, smoke still rising from its engines. Life support status. Sam asked. For hours remaining. Rilla replied after checking her tablet. Maybe less. Sam stood up and shrugged into the pack. The human moved with practiced ease, fingers finding buckles without looking, adjusting straps by feel alone. Opening rear door, the pilot announced. Holding at 2,000 meters above target. Wind speed is high. Are you certain about this? Sam walked to the rear of the shuttle. The door slid open, revealing nothing but empty air and distant ground. Wind howled into the cabin. Rilla's wings pressed flat against her body in instinctive terror. The human stood at the edge of the void, looking down at an 800-meter fall. Sam, Rilla called out. Why are you doing this? You do not know these miners. They're not your species. This is not your responsibility. The human looked back at her. For a moment, the confident smile faded, replaced by something softer. Something almost sad. Rilla, do you know why humans invented skydiving? Why we learned to fall safely? No. Because we kept finding reasons to jump. To save people from burning buildings. To escape sinking ships. To reach places nothing else could reach. Sam turned back to the open door. Humans do not fall because we want to die. We fall because sometimes falling is the only way to save someone else. The human stepped forward. See you at the bottom, Sam said, and then there was only empty space where the human had been. Rilla rushed to the door. Far below, she saw a small figure falling through the sky, arms and legs spread wide, riding the air like it was solid ground. The human was not screaming. The human was not flailing. The human was aiming. Descent speed stable at 54 meters per second, the pilot reported. Life signs normal. The human is laughing. Rilla watched the falling shape grow smaller and smaller. In 4 hours, the miners would be dead. In 4 minutes, the human would reach them. Physics said terminal velocity killed. The human had asked what it killed. The answer was simple. Not humans. Never humans. Silence. That was the first thing Sam noticed. The roar of the shuttle vanished the moment gravity took hold. Up here, in the thin upper air, there was only the whisper of wind and the steady beat of a human heart. Below, the world spread out like a painting. Brown rock, gray stone, the dark line of the canyon cutting through the landscape. And there, growing larger with each passing second, the cliff with its narrow ledge of trapped miners. Sam adjusted body position. Arms out slightly, legs together. The wind pushed back, a familiar pressure against chest and face. This was the part most people never understood. Falling was not chaotic. Falling was control. The air itself became a tool, something to push against, something to shape. 50 meters per second. 52. The denser atmosphere fought back, and Sam felt the speed stabilize. Terminal velocity. The point where gravity and air resistance reached balance. The point where falling became flying. The ledge was off to the left. Sam shifted weight, tilted shoulders, and felt the wind carry the adjustment into a gentle turn. The target drifted back towards center in the shuttle far above. Sam knew they were watching. Rilla with her trembling wings. The pilot with steady hands and nervous eyes. Commander Drell listening through the communication link, probably checking the life sign monitors every few seconds. They were waiting for something to go wrong. They expected failure. How could they not? Their entire understanding of physics said this should not work, But Sam had been falling since childhood. First from trees, then from buildings, then from aircraft. Each fall taught the same lesson. Gravity was not an enemy. Gravity was a partner. You just had to learn the dance. 1,000 meters to go. The ledge was clearly visible now. Sam could see the crashed transport, its hull torn open like a wounded animal. Could see the small figures huddled at the far end of the ledge, as far from the wreck as they could get. 18 lives. 18 crystalline beings who had never experienced a fall in their existence. 18 people who would shatter like glass if the ledge collapsed before rescue arrived. Sam made another adjustment. The wind shifted, pushing hard from the east, but human instincts compensated automatically. Tilt left. Drop right shoulder. Let the body become a wing. 500 meters. The details became clear. The miners were looking up. They had seen the shuttle. They must have seen the small figure that jumped from it. Did they understand what they were watching? Did they know that help was falling toward them at 50 meters per second? 300 meters. Thomas slowed down. Sam reached back and found the handle. The parachute deployment cord felt solid and familiar in human fingers. This was the moment. The transition from falling to floating. The instant when physics shifted from enemy to friend. Pull. The chute exploded outward, catching air, spreading wide. Sam felt the harness tighten as momentum transferred from body to fabric. The world lurched. Speed dropped. 50 meters per second became 10. Then 6. Then 4. At the landing was soft. Sam's boots touched stone with barely more force than stepping off a ladder. The parachute settled behind like a tired bird folding its wings. The miners stared. They were beautiful in their way. Crystalline bodies that caught the dim sunlight and scattered it into fragments of color. Tall and slender, with faces that held expressions of pure disbelief. "Hello," Sam said, already unclipping the harness. "I understand you need some help getting down from here." Nobody responded. They just stared at the strange creature that had fallen from the sky. Sam pulled out the anchor equipment and began assessing the rock. Solid enough. The ledge was unstable, yes, but the wall behind it would hold bolts. Cable extraction would work. "My name is Sam. I am human. I fell from that shuttle up there because your rescue craft cannot reach you through the wind." Sam drove the first bolt into stone. "I'm going to set up anchor points. Then cables will come down. You clip onto the cables, and you ride up to safety." Simple. One of the miners finally spoke. The translation device rendered their voice as high and musical. "You fell. You fell from so high. How are you not dead? Humans are good at falling." Sam drove another bolt. "We practice. Practice dying. Practice not dying." The third bolt went in. The rock was holding. "Good. Falling is only dangerous if you do not know how to stop." "I know how to stop." The communication device on Sam's wrist crackled. Rilla's voice came through, shaking with relief. "Sam, we have your signal. Anchor points are reading stable. Cable teams are moving into position above the wind shear zone. Extraction can begin in 10 minutes. Copy that. Tell them to hurry. This ledge is not going to last forever." Sam felt the stone tremble beneath human feet. Somewhere deep in the cliff, cracks were spreading. The crash had damaged more than just the transport. The entire ledge was living on borrowed time. 10 minutes. 18 miners. Fragile, crystalline bodies that could not survive even a short fall. Sam looked at the frightened faces surrounding the work area. "Okay, everyone listen. When the cables come down, you clip in, you hold tight, and you do not let go." "Understood." 18 heads nodded. The cables descended from the sky like silver threads. Sam grabbed the first one and attached it to a miner. The countdown had begun. The first miner rose into the sky like a crystal lifted by invisible hands. Sam watched until the cable carried them safely above the wind shear zone, then turned to grab the next one. 17 left. The ledge groaned beneath their feet. "You next," Sam said to a tall Tessari with deep blue coloring. "Clip here. Hold tight. Do not let go." The miner obeyed without question. Another pull on the cable, another life rising to safety. 16 left. The work became rhythm. Clip. Check. Signal. Watch them rise. Turn. Find the next miner. Repeat. Sam's hands moved with the speed of someone who understood that seconds mattered. "What is your name?" Sam asked the next miner while attaching the harness. "Fossey. I work the deep tunnels." The crystalline being trembled. "I have never been so high before. We are not meant for heights. Nobody is meant for anything until they do it." Sam finished the clip. "Now you're someone who survived a cliff rescue. That is a good story for later." Fossey rose into the air. 15 left. The ledge cracked. A section near the ruined transport broke away and tumbled into the canyon below. The remaining miners screamed, pressing closer together, away from the new edge. "Stay calm," Sam ordered. "The anchors are holding. We have time." But the words felt hollow. Sam could feel the stone shifting, could feel the subtle vibrations that meant more cracks were spreading through the rock. The ledge was dying beneath them. 12 left. Then 10. Then 8. Each extraction took precious seconds. The cables had to descend. The miners had to be secured. They had to rise high enough before the next cable could come down. There was no way to speed up the process. 6 left. The ledge lurched. Another section fell. The remaining miners crowded onto an area barely 10 meters wide. "Faster," one of them pleaded. "Please, faster. Working on it." Sam grabbed a young Tessari, barely more than a child by the look of them. Small, with pale violet coloring and eyes wide with terror. "What is your name, little one?" "Pip." The voice was barely a whisper. "I am Pip. Nice to meet you, Pip. You are about to take a ride up to that shuttle. It will feel strange, but it is safe. Just hold the cable and do not look down." Pip nodded, but did not move toward the clip. The young Tessari was frozen, paralyzed by fear. "Pip, I need you to move. We do not have much time." "I cannot." Tears like liquid crystal ran down Pip's face. "I'm too scared. I will fall. I know I will fall." Behind them, another crack echoed through the cliff. Sam glanced back. 5 other miners remained, all watching, all waiting. If Pip did not move, none of them would reach safety in time. Sam knelt down to meet Pip's eyes. The stone beneath their feet trembled. "Pip, listen to me. Do you know what I did this morning?" "No." "I jumped out of a perfectly good spacecraft. From 2,000 meters up. Just to get here. Just to help you." Pip's eyes widened. "Why would you do that?" "Because falling is not the scary part. The scary part is staying still when you should move." Sam placed a gentle hand on Pip's shoulder. "This cable is not falling. This cable is flying. You're not going to drop. You're going to rise. All you have to do is hold on." The ledge groaned. Rocks fell. Time was measured in heartbeats now. "I am scared," Pip whispered. "I know. Being scared is okay. Being scared does not mean you cannot be brave." Sam guided Pip toward the clip. "Brave means doing the thing even when you are scared. Can you be brave for me, Pip?" Small crystalline hands gripped the cable. Sam attached the harness with swift fingers. "I am brave," Pip said, more to themselves than anyone else. "Yes, you are." The cable pulled tight. Pip rose into the air, still holding on, still afraid but moving, rising. Surviving point, 4 miners left. 3, 2, 1. Sam clipped the last miner to the final cable and watched them ascend. The ledge was shaking constantly now. Pieces crumbled away every few seconds. The anchors Sam had driven into the wall groaned with strain. "Sam, get to your extraction point." Rilla's voice crackled through the communicator. "The ledge is failing. You need to move now." Sam looked at the anchor, looked at the cables. The rescue shuttle could not descend through the wind, but maybe they could drop another cable. Maybe there was time that a sound like thunder filled the air. The cracks spread across the entire ledge. Sam felt the stone tilt beneath human feet. Sam moved. There was nowhere to move to. The ledge was gone, breaking apart like ice in warm water. Sam had 1 second to make a choice: stay on the falling stone and die crushed at the bottom of the canyon, or jump into the void and trust the skills that had never failed before. Sam jumped. The ledge collapsed behind the falling human. 800 meters of empty air below, and a damaged parachute on a back that had already made one impossible landing today. The galaxy held its breath, and Sam fell. Rilla screamed on the shuttle's monitor. Sam's life sign plummeted through the air. The ledge was gone. reduced to tumbling rubble falling alongside the human. 800 meters of nothing waited below. Deploy parachute, Commander Drell ordered through the communication link. Sam, deploy your parachute immediately. The life sign kept falling. No deployment. No slowdown. The parachute is damaged, the shuttle pilot reported, voice tight with horror. Sensors show partial deployment. Maybe 40% effectiveness. 40%. Rilla did the math instantly. Instead of slowing to 6 meters per second, Sam would hit the ground at 30. Maybe 35, fatal. For any species, fatal. Sam, respond, drill demanded. Sam, do you copy? Static. Then a voice, calm and focused, cut through the noise. Copy, Commander. Chute is damaged, but functional. I'm going to write it down. You cannot survive this impact. Watch me. Rilla pressed her face to the viewport. Far below, she could see a tiny figure with a half-open parachute spiraling down through the canyon. The human was not fighting the damaged chute. They were working with it, adjusting body position, steering towards something. What are they aiming for? The pilot asked. Rilla looked closer. At the base of the canyon, where the cliff met the ground, there was a slope. Loose gravel and sand that had collected over centuries of erosion. A natural cushion. The gravel slope, she breathed. Sam is aiming for the gravel slope. 600 meters. 500. 400. The human twisted in the air, fighting the wind, correcting the descent path meter by meter. The damaged parachute flapped and struggled, but it held. It slowed the fall enough to matter point 300 meters. 200. Sam's voice came through the communicator again. Tell Pip I said being brave was the right choice. 100 meters. Impact. Sam hit the gravel slope at an angle, not straight down but sliding, rolling, tumbling. The human body bounced and skidded across the loose stone, throwing up clouds of dust and debris. 80 meters of uncontrolled sliding before the motion finally stopped. Rilla held her breath. The life sign monitor flickered, flatlined, then jumped back to active. Vital signs detected, the shuttle computer announced. Elevated heart rate, elevated pain responses, multiple injuries. Status alive. Alive. The small figure at the bottom of the canyon moved. Slowly, painfully, Sam sat up. One hand rose and waved at the shuttle, circling above. Rilla burst into tears. Her wings spread wide for the first time since the rescue began. Around her, the shuttle crew cheered. 2 hours later, Sam lay in the medical bay of Station Amber 7. Medical officer Yin stood nearby, studying her scanner with an expression of pure disbelief. 2 cracked ribs, she reported. Severe bruising across 70% of the body. 1 sprained ankle. Minor cuts and abrasions. That is all, Commander Drell asked. That is all. The human survived an 800-meter fall with a damaged parachute, impacted the ground at approximately 30 meters per second, and suffered injuries that will heal completely within weeks. Yin set down her scanner. I have studied medicine for 40 years. I do not understand how this is possible. Sam smiled from a medical bed. Dense bones, shock-absorbing muscles, millions of years of evolution on a planet that tried to kill us every day. The human winced while adjusting position. Also, I aim for the soft stuff. The door to the medical bay opened. Rilla entered, followed by 18 crystalline figures. The miners of Prospect, 6, still wearing emergency blankets, still trembling from their ordeal. Pip walked at the front of the group, carrying something cupped in small hands. We wanted to thank you, Pip said softly. You fell from the sky to save us. You told me to be brave. And then you fell again. Part of the job, Sam said. This is not your job. You do not know us. You are not our species. Pip stepped forward and held out the object in those small hands. It was a flower made of crystal, delicate and beautiful, catching the light like captured starfire. I grew this in my garden on the mining station. It is the only thing I have from home. I want you to have it. Sam took the flower carefully. The human's eyes grew wet, a reaction Rilla had never seen before. Thank you, Pip. I will keep it safe. The miners filed out, each one touching Sam's hand or shoulder as they passed. Silent thanks from beings who had no other words to offer. When they were gone, Rilla approached the bed. I have a question. Ask. Terminal velocity kills. That is what physics says. That is what every species in the galaxy believes. But you fell twice today and lived both times. Rilla's wings folded and unfolded nervously. What does terminal velocity kill, if not humans? Sam held up the crystal flower, watching it scatter light across the ceiling. The smile on that strange human face was soft and real. Boredom, mostly. Rilla stared for a long moment. Then she laughed. She could not help it. The sound bubbled up from somewhere deep inside, a release of all the fear and tension and wonder of the past day. She returned to her quarters that night and opened a formal report to the Galactic Council. Her fingers hesitated over the interface before she began to type. Amendment to Universal Safety Protocols, Section 47. Terminal velocity previous text. Terminal velocity impact is fatal to all known biological species. No exceptions. Revised text. Terminal velocity impact is fatal to all known biological species, with one exception. Consult human directly for survival parameters. She paused, then added one final note. Addendum. When asked what terminal velocity kills, the human responded, boredom, mostly. Classification. Accurate. Rilla saved the document and sent it to the council. Outside her window, the stars turned slowly, vast and ancient and full of mysteries. Somewhere out there, humans were probably jumping out of spacecraft for fun. She found that thought strangely comforting.